Today, we are going to delve into the thought-provoking world of video games. Here's some examples of the creatively played games.
Nerf this!
Serious Sam. Serious Sam 2, shown right here, is a first-person shooter video game developed and released by Crow Team back on October 11, 2005. Now, Serious Sam 2 is a pretty weird game. It has weird enemies, it has really creative guns, it has really weird levels, but that adds to the charm of Serious Sam. The enemies are strange and unique in a way that you will never expect them. And some enemies require you to do different things to defeat them, making boss fights actually different from one another. And it makes every level feel completely different from one another because they all have their own different feel. Now the story is not that great, but when you go into Serious Sam, you have to when you play with friends. There's so many ways you can fuck up your friends and just leave them for dead. But I think that Serious Sam is a fun game to play if you have no other game to play, or if you just want a non-serious game.
I'm ready to win! My ultimate is ready!
Overwatch is a game developed by Blizzard. This game is filled with overly sexy women and somewhat sexy men. Kinda unfair because a lot of the women are extremely sexy. Only some of the men are. It really makes you wonder whether Overwatch is made to be a game or a porno. But because of this, it's gaining a lot of popularity. It's ranking to the top of the charts, such as Reddit, YouTube, Twitch, and Pornhub. However, this isn't the only reason Overwatch is making it to the top of the chart. Overall, Overwatch is a great game. It's one of the most popular competitive scenes and one of the most popular stream games. It has a great community around it. The gameplay is amazing, and in the hands of the game company that is heralded as one of the best at balancing its characters, it will only get even better. Overwatch is clearly leaving a mark on today's gaming world. Its rapid popularity is credited to its incredibly fun twist to the squad shooter genre, and the aforementioned overly sexy women. Seriously though, the game is really fun to play. And also, the game's playable heroes are very diverse, and each require a different set of tactics to play and counter. It's made in such a way that every player can find a hero that will suit their playstyle, which is really impressive considering that the game has such a tiny roster. Although Blizzard keeps adding to its roster every other month or so, every update, with such a tiny roster and such a diversity of characters, being able to suit a lot of people is a very impressive feat. Another thing that keeps the players playing is the fact that Blizzard shows so much love for the game. They constantly update the game with new maps, new modes, new characters, and new skins. Most of which make the overly sexy female characters even sexier.
I'm ready to start.
They also issue balancing updates which make every season of the game very different from one another. Although there is one aspect of the game that I personally hate and a lot of people do, and it's the fact the game has loot boxes. Now, a lot of people love these loot boxes, but I personally don't like them. Mostly because the chance of the loot box giving you something that you actually want is extremely low. Like really low. Maybe like 1 in 100. But when you do get something really good, it feels really good. But most of the time, you get some crappy cash. Nobody is actually wants. hardest game or something. Otherwise though, Overwatch is a really good game. It has really great characters. It keeps fans coming back to it every day. And these characters aren't two-dimensional either. They have built lore around them with their comics they release for every other update, which fans really love. And also the Blizzard is heralded as one of the best at making lore for its game. Especially with games such as Warcraft, World of Warcraft, and Gears of War. They have proven themselves to be one of the best at creating lore for their video games.
1-0.
And this also affects Overwatch. If you have watched any of their promotional videos, you can really see in the life without what made them who they are now, and what the Overwatch actually is. It keeps fans enticed to the game. They make theories, they make predictions, and it comes so far that the fans actually gain sexual attraction towards certain characters in the game. It's just proves us how humane the characters actually are and how 3D they made the characters. Which really is just impressive. But for Blizzard, I think that's nothing new. It's kind of expected. But it just adds to what makes Overwatch a great game.
Victory. Play of the game.
One more game with the FPS genre, but focuses more on the platformer aspect, is the game Clustertruck. Developed by Landfall Games and released in September 27, 2016, it's pretty self-explanatory, being a platform game. Next up on the list is Osu. Osu is a freeware rhythm game developed by Dean Herbert back in September 16, 2007. It features popular music, such as game music, anime music, dubstep, pop music, and sometimes even classical music, which are then converted into beat maps by the community. These beat maps then are shared, played, and used by players to test their skills with other players. Osu is arguably one of the best games to play in your free time. It is really popular with one of the biggest communities ever, and that is the otaku culture. And this is partly because the community is filled with anime beat maps, which otakus are then drawn to. Now, Osu is a game where you click on circles to match a certain beat, but it also features other game modes, such as game modes where you press the keyboard to match a certain beat. And then there's also a game called Taiko, which you have a drum. And I don't really know how to play that game, but people in Japan do. If that makes sense. Now, of course, these kinds of games have been around forever, but Osu's emphasis on mouse movement has created a brand new environment for avid fans. It also has features which allow the community to pretty much customize every feature of the game. The community can create skins for the game, they can customize the mouse pointer, they can create their own beat maps. They can do so much with the game, which makes every player's experience so much different, and gives the player a large selection to choose from, which fits his needs. A player can of course look for his favorite song, and then learn that song. Or he can look for a really hard song, maybe to impress his friends, maybe just to raise his score. Now, we mix this environment with a very active and really large community, and you have yourself a winning game. Not only does the game have beat maps perfect for the beginner that are so easy even a baby could do it also has maps that are so challenging only the few people in the world can actually beat it. And once these people do beat it, these people are heralded as gods or maybe even demons. Now, as I said, Osu can accredit most of its popularity to the otaku community. Mostly because the people who play that game are people who study Osu because of anime. And because of this large community, a lot of anime songs are given beatmaps, making the community even larger. And afterwards, a lot of other songs, which aren't anime music, maybe like game music or classical music or pop music, have been created beatmaps of too, which makes target audience extremely large. And what keeps players playing is that there's a really high skill ceiling, which means you can always get better at the game. You can always find a bigger challenge, which makes you keep coming back to it because you want to get better, you want to be the best, you want to be like those people on YouTube which can like perfect those really hard maps somehow. Now, of course, one of the worst things about Osu is the fact that to even play those really hard maps, you're gonna need what is called a drawing tablet. Basically a pen and a trackpad. This is because a mouse is normally not enough to track all the circles on the screen because they go by so fast. So a drawing tablet is almost required to even get close to beating those levels. Now this in itself is not that bad, as mouse players can still try to do those really hard maps, although it's incredibly hard and I'm not sure if a lot of people can do that, as those maps are really hard for people with the drawing tablets themselves. Also, the game can probably give you carpal tunnel because of how quickly you're pressing the buttons on the keyboard. Which is not really a bad thing actually, they could probably regulate that. But overall, Osu is a pretty good game. It's pretty fun. There's no commitment. So you can just download it and it's free. So you can just play it on your free time. It's just so convenient, the game. Next up on the list is Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami is a top-down shooter developed by Dennaton Games and released on October 23, 2012. It boasts a wonderful soundtrack, ranging from psychedelic reggae to synth-pop, fast-paced gameplay with ruthless AI, and a really disturbing story. Now, I see Hotline Miami as a really creative shooter. It has one of the most interesting art styles I have ever seen and has a really confusing yet very mysterious story which keeps you on the edge of your seat at all times. The way they told the story was really great because you had to piece things together yourself to actually understand what it meant. And the enemies were really hard to fight against too. The AI was really well made. They're crazy. It's almost as if they had aimbot almost all the time. But what this did is it made you really think about each decision you made. Each level became a challenge because of the AI. You really had to get a really big advantage over your opponents, otherwise they will end up killing you. The essence of surprise, stealth, and quick reflexes really come into the play when playing this game. Playing this game requires a lot of thinking, a lot of skill, and most importantly, quick reflexes, even finish. But because of this, because of the creative levels, the amazing enemies, and the different types of enemies, the game has a lot of replayability. It's just really fun to play. I could play it for days and days, and I wouldn't get bored of it because it's really fun, and enemies are really fun to fight against, and just trying out new ways to defeat them is fun in itself. Last but not least is Skullgirls, a fighting game developed by Revenge Labs, released on April 10th, 2012. It is well known for its distinct art style, fluidity, and noob-friendly mechanics, and its overall feel. And like Overwatch, it is also known for its extremely sexy characters and their borderline clickbaiting. They spawned a lot of weird content online. But overall, it's a pretty fun game. Although it didn't get as popular as a lot of other fighting games. It spawned its own cult community, its own cult following. Well, that's it for the specific list of games. This is Beaver Buster 69. Thanks for watching.